can't stress, guys. I can't stress how important this game is. You guys know it. You don't need me to say it. We know the permutations going into this. A draw keeps us up, regardless what happens at West Ham. However, if we lose this game, we just can't have West Ham winning. If West Ham win and we lose, that's the only way that we go down on the final day. Knowing Spurs, I mean, I don't even want to say it. Knowing Spurs, they are going to make us sweat. They will make us sweat because that's what we do. We never do things easy at Spurs. If we did things easy, we'd be home and hosed by now. You know, we wouldn't have conceded that last-minute goal at Brighton. We would have held on against Leeds. We would have got the draw that we needed at Chelsea. We didn't do any of those. So we're not going to get any help from the ref, so we can't count on that. So we need to do the job ourselves, and we need to forget the referees, forget what's going on at West Ham, just focus on what we need to focus on and get the job done, guys.
100%. That's the message that De Zerbi is pumping out. You know, we're going to concentrate on winning. We're going to concentrate on ourselves. You deal with that, you'll get the job done. It will be, for the fans, it's going to be a day full of nerves, full of anxiety. We're going to be obviously checking and listening into what's going on at West Ham and, you know, following every update, you know, very closely. And if West Ham concede or if they start losing, whatever, that will be obviously a big sigh of relief. But for me, we just got to concentrate on ourselves. I do think we have been better at home since De Zerbi's come in. Only it has been 2 games, but obviously the form at home was that bad. It wasn't that hard to improve on it, was it? But I do think, you know, considering our last home game before De Zerbi came in was Forest, wasn't it? And that was an absolute disaster. 3-0 and just no energy. And it was just so easy for Forest. Even though at times we were on top of them, it was just so easy for them to create chances and score goals when they needed to, and that has kind of been stopped under De Zerbi. We've made it a lot more difficult now for opponents to be creating chances, a lot more difficult. They really have to work hard now for their chances, whereas before we were just like all over the place and lethargic and whatever. So I think that is a positive. I think our home form, despite the fact we haven't won one in the 2 games, there's been a pathway to winning them. Whereas I felt like before De Zerbi, we deservedly got beaten in every game, and we were terrible all over the place, conceding lots of chances left, right, and centre. Remember the defending at home to Arsenal. Like some of the goals, Eze just waltzing into our penalty area, nowhere near him, and scoring and tapping goals. Gyökeres 1-on-1 with Gray and just firing at home. Look at the goals that Gibbs White scored, completely free in the box, no one near him.
Then, you know, it was very reactive defending. You know, we were just letting teams just shoot on the edge of our box. We were just waiting, you know, waiting for players to come at us. Now it's very proactive defending. You know, Van der Ven stepping out, Danso stepping out, Porro, you know what I mean? It's very proactive, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from the structure of the team. And look, whatever you want to say about our home form, I know we haven't won one, but De Zerbi has not lost a home game yet. And we've played two very good teams in Brighton and Leeds, both on good form at that moment in time. So I think it bodes well going into this game. You know, we were speaking to the West Ham boys yesterday, and I was saying to them, like, if I could pick one of Everton at home or Leeds at home, I much prefer to play Everton right now. Everton are on shocking form. They haven't won a game since the back end of March. You know, that's a long time. How many games is that actually that they haven't won a game in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 or 7 games that they haven't won a game in. I know what everyone's going to say is Dr. Tottenham, and there's no better place that you want to go to without a win than the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's right, and we've seen that all season. But under De Zerbi, we've been a much more solid outfit. And I trust it that we can get through this game without losing. I really do. Yeah, and
look, they haven't won away from home since February. I was a last-minute winner away at Newcastle as well. So their away form which was very impressive at points, has dropped off. They did even lose to West Ham away from home not so long ago, which was not a great result. Callum Wilson scoring the winner. So I think if we're facing a team who haven't won in a while, that all we have to do is avoid defeat. I think hopefully Everton will be, you know, willing participants. I saw their game against Sunderland last week, when they were 1-0 up and they just ran out of energy. And a team like Sunderland, who are just not that great at going forward, if they're ripping you apart like they did Everton, there's something a bit off at the moment.
We did see Jordan Pickford and Jack Grealish stumble out of a taxi at like 4 a.m. So does that suggest where the team is at right now? And that's kind of like on the beach.
Which we know their chances of Europe are pretty much nil at the moment. A win puts them level with 8th, but they would have to also beat Newcastle, Sunderland and Brentford to get there. So they know they're not going to be playing in Europe next season. It's going to be, their chances are pretty much nothing. So they're not playing for much. But David Moyes has said before the game they are taking this game very seriously. He would love nothing more but to help his former team West Ham stay in the Premier League and give them a helping hand. So he's there. I don't think he take anything for granted. And the way Moyes sets up his team, they can be hard to beat and they can be difficult to play against. And also what we do know is once they do take a lead, it can be hard to break them down and get back in the game. And that's something I'm worried about because we are so reactive to game state. Sorry. We watched De Zerbi. I watched him do an interview with Tottenham, the Tottenham social media team last week. Something that really stuck with me, what he said, was so true. He just said the big problem with us at the moment is we are just so reactive to what happens. If we score, our confidence is like this, and we're over the moon, and we're, with Javi, 15 minutes to go, is running into the crowd like we won the league and everything, right? Taking his shirt off. When we concede, it's like
very emotional.
Exactly, so emotional. We're down, and like it's over for us. Even though we concede with lots of time left, everyone's on the floor and depressed when we concede. And he said the goal is we need to get to a neutral kind of, if we concede when we score, we need to keep trusting in ourselves, trusting the way we play and believe in ourselves that whatever happens, things, nothing is certain. We can still change the outcome. And that is just something very evident in this team. We are so
true.
Reactive to what happens in the game.
We've
reactive
said it time
to game
and time
state.
again, haven't we? We've said it time and time again. Like, you don't need De Zerbi to tell us that for us to know that. We know that every time we concede, for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we look out on our feet. We can't make passes. We can't press properly. We panic. That's happened every single game. Every game that we've gone one down under De Zerbi, or that we've even conceded against under De Zerbi, we've been terrible for the next 20, 30 minutes. But when we score, we look confident and we look like that we can do something. So that's why we say every single game going into it, the first goal is so vital. If we score the first goal on Sunday, I'm sure we're going to go and win the game. I really do. If we
can for sure not lose.
Yeah, but I call a draw winning the game this weekend. If we concede first, it's in the hands of the gods. We ain't going to win that game if we concede first,
because we haven't. We haven't all season. That's what the stats bear out. We have a 0% win rate when we've gone behind. So to suggest in this game of all games it's going to happen, look, it could happen. But I'm just saying to rely on that or think that that's something you want that you want to trust that we can do is not something I want to do. I think we can't. If I think it gets scary. What if we do concede the first goal, and if West Ham are winning or even drawing at that point, and them knowing that a goal puts them outside the relegation zone, then all of a sudden it gets very, very scary, and all of a sudden you're thinking we are in big trouble. And if at any point we are behind, then I think psychologically that's going to be a lot to handle for these players. And I think that's the big worry going into this game, is the psychological element, the anxiety, the nerves of the players, even from the fans transmitting to the players, all of that. That is something that we haven't dealt with well at all throughout the season, and even when De Zerbi's been there, we just haven't dealt with it. The only ways we've done well was obviously the Wolves game we won, but the Villa game we went up very early, and all of a sudden we had that confidence. Against Brighton, we scored we scored in the first half, and that obviously gave us confidence throughout the game that we're very much in that game. Whenever we've gone behind, or whenever we've been really struggling, it's been really hard for us to turn that around. And Wolves, you can say it, but we didn't play well that game. We did get that goal late on, and we did well to just mentally stay in the game, but we were also playing the worst side in the league. So you got to say that. It's just something that we've struggled with all season, and De Zerbi's spotted it. Hopefully the problem, what the problem with that is? It's not something you can just rectify very quickly. It's not something you can rectify like with one game to spare, That's something that takes a long time to fix.
It's because of everything that the team have been through this season under Thomas Frank.
That's something you need a pre-season to get out of the players.
100%.
And when you need a reset for that.
That's why we just need to get past this game, and I think we can actually look forward. What plays a massive part are the fans. I do say it every week, but I think this game more than ever, particularly with the first goal, as much as the team look nervy if we don't get that early goal going into the second half 0-0, the fans also get very nervy. We saw against Brighton, we got that early goal. We scored in the first half, and there was unwavering support until the end. Against Leeds, I felt because it was 0-0 for such a long time, you know, the whole first half, we scored early in the second half, I felt like those nerves started to filter into the fans, and that kind of filtered onto the pitch a little bit. So the fans got a massive part to play this weekend.
Well, De Zerbi scored on us. There will be, I'm sure, will be probably just as big, or do you think
bigger.
It'll be just bigger than the Forest one?
This is it.
I think, look, if De Zerbi's calling for it, if that's what he thinks the players want or need, I think that's a good thing.
Do you think it's what the players want or need? Because obviously we did it against Forest and it didn't work in our favour.
But we haven't done it under De Zerbi yet.
Yeah, you never know though. Against Forest, it's not like we were horrific in the first half. It's just like we conceded one goal and then fell apart like we always do. But in the first half, if we would have got that first goal, we could have got that first goal. You never know what could have happened.
I think obviously the place we were in as a team, we're not in a massive different place now, but just that under Tudor, we looked lost. We looked all over the place. As soon as we conceded, we lost belief. But if you do remember, as you say, before we conceded, we were the better team. I'm not saying it's because of the fans. I'm just saying that's the reality of that game. And once we conceded in the second half, we completely fell apart.
I think it was, an element of it was the fans, because the fans were incredible in that first half against Nottingham Forest. The electric atmosphere from the kickoff. And I think the players definitely thrived off that at the beginning of that game. But once his team concedes, everything goes out the window.
No, I just think the players need to feel that even though the season has been dreadful and has been an absolute disaster, even though there's a lot of broken trust between the club and the fans, even though there's a lot to complain about, for this day, right now, on Sunday, we are behind them. We are fully behind them. We're backing them to get us out of this mess, and then we can draw a line under the season and move forward next season and completely forget about what's happened. Not forget, but try and learn the lessons of what's happened and move on from it. But for this day, for one day at the very least, until the end of the season, we know how much survival matters. We know that this is a massive ramification for the future of our club. So if we can give every ounce of support we can, we are behind them. We are not here to break them. We're not here to criticise them. We're not here to complain about misplaced passes. We're not here to tell them how shit they are and how shit they've been for this whole season. We're here to back them and support them and believe in them. And that's the message we send out on that day, before the game, showing all the support for the coach coming in. I think that's what the message it sends to them.
Yeah, and that's exactly what needs to happen. You know, it's got to be an electric atmosphere. We've got to treat this as what it is. You know, the biggest game in recent history. You saw the fans, what they're like in Bilbao. You saw what they're like in the Bodo home game. This has got to be that, but times 10, literally. Like, they need all the support they can get. We need to thrive off it. You saw in the Bodo game all the atmosphere going into it, and bang, we scored in the first few minutes, and we never look back. So we just need to keep supporting people.
So obviously we know there's going to be the other game going on simultaneously. That's how the final day works. Every game kicks off at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
How much do you, obviously De Zerbi says, you know, we need to block out everything in our mind from what's going out. First of all, do you think De Zerbi himself will be following what's going on at West Ham? And as well, do you think how much of an effect will crowd reactions to what's going on at West Ham have an effect on what's going on our pitch, do you think?
I think it could have a major impact. Like, if West Ham score, it could be like Spurs conceding a goal. But look, I think
also the Everton fans, because obviously we're not going to have a major reaction if West Ham score, but the Everton fans are going to let us know, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be moans and groans. They'll know. Everyone will know.
Well, the Everton fans will be cheering, like the Wolves. Yeah, the
fans 100%. The Everton fans will be cheering, but you'll also notice it from the home end, because suddenly you'll probably hear from loud singing to moans and groans. You know what I mean? So there'll definitely be an atmosphere in the stadium with, regardless if De Zerbi's following it on his own, he'll know. The players will know what is going on at West Ham, regardless. So I don't think De Zerbi will be following it. I don't. I think he'll just know from the fan reaction what's going on.
What's interesting is the only way to combat that is if we're winning our game.
It doesn't matter.
Then it doesn't matter. You know, think about it. If we were winning like 2-0 or something, there's not going to be cheering if West Ham concede. No one's going to care. It's going to be, we're focusing on our team and we're cheering on our team. No, but if we're losing or drawing, all of a sudden it makes a major effect, doesn't it? What's going on, and all of a sudden you're going to hear the reactions, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Obviously, when it comes down to this last day, these dramatic moments, it's we've had it. I said in the Molineux had like a final day feel to that when we were cheering and then the Wolves fans cheering, what that West Ham scored, all that kind of stuff. But I hope it doesn't come down to that. But
how do you think it all plays out?
I've got a feeling it's very nervy for both teams. I think we both win, and I think we both win in very Well, I think West Ham win their game 1-0. They score in the first half. They get the goal. They shut up shop and see out the game and win 1-0 and just win that game. I think for us, I just got a feeling it's going to be very nervy. It's going to be like 0-0 going to half time. We're going to have a lot of the ball without doing much. Everton are going to be sitting off. You know, we're going to be stopping their counters, but we're going to be failing to break them down. It's going to be 0-0, but we're going to have that knowledge in that second half that West Ham are winning. And it's going to be very, very nervy. And then I've got a feeling we're just going to find a moment. We're going to get a goal when maybe Richarlison or whatever, maybe someone off the bench. Maybe Maddison comes on and does something. And there'll be a massive like sigh of relief. We'll get a goal with like 10 minutes to go, and then we'll defend and just see out the game 1-0. I've got a feeling we both win the game 1-0 in very, very nervy moments, but we make it.
Who's going to score first?
West Ham.
Yeah, I feel like West Ham will go 1-0 up early, and then Spurs will go 1-0 up at some point. You know, maybe in the latter stage or the beginning of the second half at some point, and then I feel Spurs might concede late, and it's going to make it a scramble for Spurs, but we'll see it through the last few minutes. I think we're going to draw 1-1, and I think the last few minutes of the game is just going to be like, fucking mad. But yeah, I mean, I was saying yesterday, and I was saying the last few days, I think Leeds do get something at West Ham. I still think they do. I just can't see Leeds losing. I think Leeds have been on such great form. I think Leeds will get a result. I think it's going to be 1-1 at Leeds. I think they're going to equalise. And I think it's going to be 1-1.
What's possible is I see a possibility is they go 1-0 up, and then they're holding out hope for us. And I think if we go 1-0 up in the second half, that filters to West Ham. They start to be on a bit of a downer, and then Leeds equalise late in that game and just kills it off anyway.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think both of us go 1-0 up. West Ham go 1-0 up first, then Spurs go 1-0 up. Then Spurs concede. Maybe like 15 minutes to go, and then I think like towards like the last 5 minutes, West Ham might concede. I think both of us draw 1-1.
I think if West Ham are hearing that we're not winning, I don't think they concede. But if they hear we are winning, I think their heads will drop a bit, and then all of a sudden they might concede a goal. That's what I say. But I'm going to go for a 1-0 for both teams. Yeah,
I'm going to go for 1-1. For both teams. I think both teams draw. Let us know your score prediction in the comment section below. But guys,
let the drama commence.
It is gonna be crazy on Sunday. It's somewhere that I'd never thought I'd be. It's somewhere that I never want to be again. So regardless of what happens on Sunday, let's just make sure we're never in this situation again. And regardless of what happens on Sunday, if you're going to the game, make your feelings heard towards the board at the end of the game. Support the team to the fullest during the game, before the game. Make sure your support is felt. But then as equally, make sure your voices are heard towards that board, because they are the reason we're in this mess. And they are the reason we'll carry on being in this mess if something doesn't change dramatically very soon. If we go down, these guys have blood on their hands. And even if we're 17th places in a row,
it's ridiculous,
you know what I mean? Even that is something I never imagined that this club would be in. So regardless of what happens, these owners need to be held accountable. The fans need to stay in their seats and let their feelings known after the game. There'll probably be the players going around the pitch, clap the players as they go past you. But as soon as they go past you, make your feeling known toward that board, because this is our last chance to do so. This is the last game of the season.
Yeah.
So I think we've done the right thing. We've supported the team up until this point. But as the final whistle goes, it's time to focus on those guys upstairs, because they are not fit for purpose. They've shown they're not fit for purpose. And this is the reason we're in this position. So there we go. There we go. That is it from us today. Sim and Marlon in this watch along. They're going to be going through the ups and the downs.
We'll have the West Ham game on. We're going to have the Spurs game on. It's going to be dramatic. So tune in.
And I'll be at the game. God, I'll be at the game, and obviously I'll be bringing you all the reaction from inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is going to be a very emotional time. But guys, let's just do this, people. Come on, we can't go down. It can't happen. These guys are used to it, West Ham. They're up, they're down, they're left, they're right. We don't go down. We've never been relegated from the Premier League. We don't know what it's like to be in this position. And let's hope we never know what it's like ever again. But come on, you Spurs. Let's do the business this weekend. Biggest game in recent history. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.